But we live to fight again because I think next week they begin the T20 competition. But we want to say kudos to the St. Mary cricket team, and we are very proud of them, and we're happy for the way they performed, even though they fell short. Guys, we're still with you, and we'll be backing you in the entire T20 competition. So let's hope we can get this going tonight, guys. What here's the thing. Here is the thing. Here is the thing. Listen, and I see my guest is trying to log on, but hold on. I see you. I see you, guest. Hold on. So here's my topic. Here is my topic tonight. Listen, last year, the Minister of Education, last year, the Minister Miss Fable Williams came out with a statement that grade 11 students, grade 11 students will be asked, or not just asked, will be made to stay another 2 years in school. If you are interested in this should be this should be of concern to you because normally or usually a child getting to 11th grade or as we know it fifth form, a child getting 11th grade or fifth form graduates from school and they're now able to go out and seek work, seek employment. So I'm going to ask you guys, so anybody logging on, whether you're on Facebook or whether you come on through WhatsApp, I would like to ask you, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about these kids, not using the word kids, students staying an extra 2 years? Let me just read a statement from what Ms. Faber Williams, the Minister of Education, had said. The traditional graduation ceremony at the end of fifth form or 11th grade in Jamaica will be banned after next year. She was saying this in November of 2021. As the Ministry of Education officially launches its 7-year high school program, which will see high school students having to endure, notice they put that word endure, having to endure another 2 years of mandatory formal education. As some Jamaican students return to school after over 1 year of closure, the Ministry of Education released details regarding its sixth form pathway program. The program requires students who complete grade 11 to either attend sixth form for 2 years, attend a trade school, or for 2 years, or go straight to university. So, guys, I'd like to find out from somebody who is in authority, somebody who has the information. You know, I want to find out from them. I want to go straight to the horse's mouth. So I plan to bring on Mrs. Juliet Sadar, the principal of St. Mary High, and she's gonna us what is this 2 year path all about? Is it just a regular sixth form program, or what is it? The students are asked to complete 2 year sixth form, or attend a trade school for 2 years, or go straight to university. So here it is again. 2 years of sixth form, attend a trade school, or go straight to university. Students, even when they have completed 11th grade and attained Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate at the CSEC, will not get a school leaving certificate unless they complete the 7 years of secondary school. For those who are watching, glad to have you here. Please leave a comment and let's see, where we can go with this. Let's find out how far we can go with this. So, guys, I would like to from any teacher that wants to log on tonight and put a comment or call in, fine. And we're waiting on until Miss Sadar makes her appearance. And then we can ask her a few questions. How does she feel? Because what I find out, I'd like to find if this was just pushed down from the ministry. Did the ministry shove this down on the schools, or was it something that was discussed? And I think we have Miss Sadar joining us. Hello, Miss Sadar, can you hear us? Hello, Mr. Sadar. Can you hear? Check your audio. Check your audio, please. I'm not hearing you.
Good evening, Mr. Hello. Hearing me?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear. Good evening,
Good
Mr. Sadar.
evening.
Glad to have you here. Well, I
To be
guess
here
by
as
now,
well.
Mr. Sadar, you may have you may have realized talking about that extra 2 years that an 11th grade student will be asked to do. First of all, do you think it's a great idea?
I think it's
Oh, your voice went in and out a while ago. Can you repeat, Mr. Dar? Is it a good idea from your point of view?
it is an excellent idea from my point of view.
Your point of view. All right. Now, I don't want to get in trouble, but was there any discussion about this with the ministry and principals, or was it something that was just sent down from on high? What would you say?
Three to this mandatory sixth form program. I think it was a discussion. I am not too certain that if we disagree
The audio is getting a bit messed up. The audio is getting a
about
bit.
3 years ago,
Can you repeat again, Mr. Dar, please? The audio got messed up a while ago.
oh, I'm sorry.
Your audio
Did I
is.
repeat what I
Yes,
said?
please.
It was 3 years ago, Mr. Wallow.
Mm-hmm.
You hear
Yes. Go again.
about 3 years ago. And while I am not going to say that the of education have changed, the principals disagreed, I have to
Uh-huh.
confess that I could not disagree because I thought it was a very good idea.
Thought it was a good idea. All right. Do you have any pushback from parents? Is there any pushback from parents?
I have heard a few parents disagreeing with the idea of sixth form, but
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Waller, you know that sixth form is not a new idea. As a matter of fact,
True.
I don't know if you know it, but schools like St. Mary High in the past had challenges because only quote unquote the bright were accepted in sixth form. Now everybody gets a chance to be accepted in sixth form, and many who would walk the streets, they would still be in school. And so I think that parents need to support the idea of their children continuing for 2 more years.
But Mr. Dar, what about the child who is not an academic? What about that child who is not an academic?
That's a good question, Mr. Waller. I think that child will benefit even more than a student who's deemed an academic. Why?
Uh-huh.
Because that student will be given a chance to pursue the tech voc areas.
Okay.
Traditionally, we have focused only on the traditional careers. No, the student who would normally be disenfranchised is getting a chance to pursue an additional 2 years rather than being on the street, you know, and
All
having
right.
self-esteem and self-confidence issues. This student will remain in school. This student can get a job. This student can enter university. What more could we ask?
So on the surface it sounds, but are the schools equipped when that child finishes fifth form and for the other years to that child?
I think, let me use St. Mary High School as an example. St. Mary High School would have a human resource challenge. So, for example, if we were to embrace the City and Guilds program of engineering, we would have a problem. We would need more teachers equipped
Mhm.
with the skills to teach that subject. However, there are schools such as the ones that are called upgraded high schools, the technical high schools, that would be equipped to teach those subjects. And please note, Mr. Waller, students are not being forced to continue at a school where there is no space or where teachers do not exist to teach a subject. They are being given they're being given options. So they can go to university, they can go to the colleges. So for example, St. Mary High School students, if we do not have the option that they would want, they have a choice of going to Monique, they have a choice of going to Case, and they can go to UTech because please note that UTech is accepting students with CSEC qualifications. UA is accepting students with CSEC qualifications. So it is not as if this is something new. I think the aim of the program is to get our young people off the streets interested in crime because they have nothing else to do.
Okay,
So
so
even when there is,
good.
I'm sorry, even when the resources are not available in the high schools, they have other options they can explore so that they are no longer on the streets.
Okay, because I've always wondered when a child, most students are going to graduate at say age 16, and when you finish 11th grade at age 16, you are still a child. Turning them out into the world is basically setting them up for failure. But I want to ask you, if a student were to say, okay, I'm not gonna do the 2 years extra at St. Mary High, I'm gonna go out into the world. Let's say they want to do nursing or something like that. Will those nursing schools be retooled to take that child, maybe say, right out of fifth form or after the 2 years? Won't that nursing school have to retool its curriculum? A child who is now more advanced, 2 years more advanced? How do you see it?
Well, you know that there is a 16-year-old
Mhm.
mature
Some are.
ready for those students and the age of the student, not the maturity, not the qualification. So it would be up to that nursing school, I do believe, to retool itself in um, these options that are now available to them.
And will the ministry be assisting in retooling these institutions, getting them the new curriculum, the new infrastructure they need? Because it's gonna be a massive undertaking, don't you think?
I do not think I really do not think it would be a matter of restructuring the institutions, because what you find is that there are cases where 16-year-old students get into some tertiary institutions. It would just be a matter of perhaps a policy change to accept students who are a little bit younger legally.
Legally, okay. All right, let me ask you, Mrs. Sadar, take off your principal hat for a minute. Put on the hat of a parent. How would you see it from that angle? I was trying to get a parent on tonight just to, have that juxtapose ideas, but I couldn't get any. None of them were brave enough. But if you were to put on your parent hat, what would you be concerned about? What would be your concerns?
My concern with
Mhm.
my child at age 16 would be my concern with my child at age 18, that my child is mature enough to take on university, to be successful at it, and at the end of the day, to be gainfully employed. So I think all of us parents have similar concerns. We become angry because the
Very.
bird is leaving the nest, but eventually bird will have to leave the nest. If the child leaves at 16 or 17, what it means is that parents will have to stick a little bit closer, perhaps, because as I said, there are 16-year-old students who are pretty mature and they're ready for university. They're ready for pre-tertiary education. If they weren't ready for pre-tertiary education, it would mean that we're not doing a good job. So I think that the anxiety, I think it's unfounded, especially if the student continues at a high school, because basically they would be continuing school just like a student and being a little bit more mature in terms of writing and so on, and approach to life, their whole approach to life and understanding of life. They'd be a little bit more mature at 18 than they would be at 16. But as I said before, there's always the exception to the rule, and there are some 16-year-olds who behave like adults.
True, that is true. That is true. And there are some kids who even at 16 are still don't know their whatever from their elbow. But wait, I'm looking at that article, and what's his name? Linvern Wright, the president
Yes.
of the GSA, right? He was saying that some of the institutions are not equipped to provide technical education that's going to be required. And I quote him, we know that a lot of equipment in the schools is really not up to date. They're run down. And he's suggesting that this is especially the case of schools that serve the most vulnerable, those from the lowest socioeconomics. How do you respond to that?
I would respond by saying that that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Government government funded institutions traditionally have been
Mm-hmm.
under resourced. But I would also say too that even though we have not had the kind of resources that would necessarily need in order to make the programs successful, or as successful as we'd want them to be, the fact is we have made do for a very long, for years we have made to do with what we have. And it's simply a matter of extending, as I said before, I do not think it would be a matter of equipment. The fact that the government is focusing more now on tech areas with the pathways, it would mean that schools would have to invest a little bit more in equipment, and the government would have to assist a little bit more. And that is what we
All
have
right.
been told.
Okay. Mr. Zara, could you explain to those of us who don't know what's this pathway program all about?
All right. It has been called Pathways, the Pathways
Mm-hmm.
program, because in the past, as you would know, Mr. Waller, we had one sixth form, and that sixth form catered more to students who were pursuing the traditional careers. So if you could not pass,
Okay.
for example, I use St. Mary High as an example. If you could not pass 5 subjects at grades 1 or 2, and those subjects matching some at the sixth form, the advanced level, chances are you'd be turned out, and it would be really, it can be completely difficult for such a child to find his or her own way, through life. The pathways allows a child who has not passed even one subject to continue in school, because it's a Pathway 2, for example, is a continuing education program where the student can retake the CSEC subjects and at the same time pursue a career in engineering via City and Guilds. Pathway 1B is a program that we have had for a very long, well, no, I'm exaggerating when I say a very long time. Pathway 1B is a very good program. It's a dual certification program, and the students are allowed to do um, a diploma in customer service as well as an associate's degree in
Okay.
tourism management. When they've completed the program, they have they have practicum that they can benefit from, so that they're ready for the world of work, and that's how the world of work comes in. The students get training on the job, So they are ready for the world of work, and also they get certified, and so they are ready for university as well. So it is their choice. So, Mr. Waller, they really are being given more choices than they would be given before. They get to experience the world of work. They get certified. They can go overseas. For example, the 1B program, they can go overseas and complete their tertiary education, or they can find a job, or they can go to a university in Jamaica. Isn't that fantastic? I
Sounds
think
fantastic.
it's a win-win
But hold
situation for children. I really do.
Oh, sounds great, Mr. Sadar. But I want to throw the fly in the ointment. With so many children that will now be on that pathway, can our university accommodate all of them, all those who want to go? Will we be able to do that?
I do believe that the university could, because please note that for the for the first time, we are emphasizing the fact that the vocational areas are worthy of tertiary education. So whereas in the past we viewed them as inferior, at this time the universities, I do believe, could do with more students and broaden the offerings. I don't know if you've heard the news where doctors can't get jobs because we have too many doctors and not enough
Too many.
jobs. Attorneys cannot get jobs. We have too many attorneys and not enough jobs.
Okay.
However, if you want a plumber, Mr. Waller, you can hardly find a plumber. If you want to employ an electrician, you can hardly find one. Where are we going as a country? If you have an oversupply in one area and an undersupply in another area. So I really think it's a good idea to develop the technical areas and to certify students in these areas to serve the country more, to help the country to develop more.
All right, sounds great. But here's another thing. I'm looking at all these different inroads here. Like as a teacher myself, whenever anything new comes in, it requires like a total buy-in of staff. Your staff has to be sold on the idea. I get the impression that in a lot of schools, not all staff members have totally bought into this idea. How will you principals go about trying to sell them this idea, trying to get the staff to be on board with this? Any
Well,
ideas?
one way of selling the idea is this, Mr.
Mhm.
Waller. We have to ask ourselves, what is our purpose as educators? As educators, it is our responsibility to ensure that the students who leave the or educational institutions are equipped to go out there to either be a part of the labor market or to continue their education. And if we are not meeting that responsibility, then we really need to take a very good look at ourselves. We can always ask the Ministry of Education, are you ready to pump resources into making this program a success? Because ultimately, that is what is going to make the program a success. If they are committed to ensuring that the resources that are necessary are there for us to make the programs successful. However, as educators, it is our responsibility, it is our obligation to ensure that we try as hard as we can to not to disenfranchise any child, because over the years what we have really done is disenfranchise some students who we call well, not bright, and so they had to go and fend for themselves. It is our responsibility to develop our young people in such a way that they go out there being confident that they can contribute positively to the society.
Good
So,
point.
yes, we have to look at our core function. We really have to. What is our responsibility as educators?
All right. But I've heard some people saying that even though the government may have, even though the ministry may have a good idea in this, their timing may not be right. People are saying coming off COVID, where basically all students now, there's a deficit in learning. They have lost basically 2 years. Why would the ministry come up with something like this? No, why not wait for another year or two when everybody can catch up? Why not wait? What do you say to that?
When the Ministry of Education intensified their efforts last academic year to get educational institutions on board, the secondary educational institutions on board, I have to confess that I was one of them who said, you really need to wait because we were having a hard time as it is being online for the first time, having to retool, having to ensure that we had the resources, not having the resources, having to work so hard to get the students online because, of course, the students were not accustomed to that kind of platform for learning. I
Uh-huh.
myself said the same thing. But in reflecting, Mr. Waller, I have to say to myself, whatever it takes, one of the reasons why many of our students would have been disenchanted by the idea of online learning is that it became a little bit even more traditional than it was before. There wasn't someone in front of them interacting. They didn't get a chance to do hands-on. And so the process for them became just too distant to interest them. These students are disenchanted, more disenchanted with learning. We need them, we need them close to us. We need hands-on, we need skills. What you find, Mr. Waller, the more the student gets engaged in learning, the more the child is
True.
interested in learning. Explaining pre-tertiary to the pathways, including tech voc, it's a win-win situation. I think that's one of the ways that we're going to get back. Many of them are out there anyway working, but how long will they be able to work as dropouts? Because basically they would be high school dropouts. How long would they be able to work and be satisfied that they are earning enough to support themselves, to support a family before they recognize that they have to be certified? So the thing for them to do is to come back to school, be in school, to be certified, to go out there more empowered than leaving as a dropout or being employed as a dropout from a tertiary institute, from a secondary institution.
Sound going a bit. But this is that. But don't you think not giving them a school leaving certificate is a bit harsh? What do you think?
The students are going to get a school leaving certificate. It's just that the school leaving certificate that they used to get from the schools will no longer be valid. They will get a national school leaving certificate similar to other countries. It's the only
Okay.
difference is that they're going to get it at the end of sixth form.
So not the if you leave at three form, that kid basically gonna stop then, right? Oh my gosh. Because we are all used to, you graduate at fifth form, if you want to come back to sixth form, fine. But people will say they think that part's a bit harsh. What do you say to a parent? For example, in the article, one lady was saying her plan was for her daughter to finish high school in Jamaica at fifth form and then migrate. No, they're saying school doesn't end in fifth form and she won't get a certificate. And some are saying that they wanted the child to get a job after fifth form and finances will be a bit tight. What do you say to that parent?
I would say to that parent, think a little bit more long term. Your child does not have a responsibility to the family. The family has a responsibility to that child to ensure that that child is educated to such an extent that that child can empower self and can empower family. When a child goes on to tertiary to a tertiary institution. If the family is poor, chances are that child can support the family a little bit more than if the child were to drop out and have to maintain a family. It's unfair to the child anyway. There is also something called a transcript. So I and at this point, if a child leaves school at fifth form, the child still has a transcript. So there are universities who would be willing to take that child. So I really
Right.
don't think that they'd be at a disadvantage at all if they go overseas to continue their education.
All right. So, Mrs. Sadar, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to, any other info or knowledge you'd like to impart to a parent who may be watching this later on next week or so? Anything you'd like them to know? Any way you can assure them and calm their fears?
I want to assure parents that schools are committed to the optimal development of their children. And we
Mhm.
happen to know, not think, we know that many of our children, a school like St. Mary High School, we do not have to worry so much about our children. It's a traditional high school. And so the performance, the confidence level might be a little bit higher. But Mr. Waller, I've seen some of the students who leave the upgraded high schools. Many
Uh-huh.
times they do not continue with their education. And then the country has a problem. I'm not going to tell you that parents, that your child is going to get involved in criminal activity or so on, but I'm saying that the likelihood of that happening is greater. So
It
please
is.
allow the schools to equip your child so that your child can support your family, your child can support him or herself, your child can aid the country and feel self-confident, feel as if he or she can succeed, whether it be at traditional studies or at vocational studies or technical studies, and especially where technical and vocational studies are concerned. Because many times, you parents, you feel that once your children can't become lawyers, they can't become police officers, they can't become teachers, they can't become nurses, they're just not good enough. And that is not so.
True.
The pathways are all about those students who would have felt disenfranchised, who would have felt that their self-confidence was just not high enough because there is a stigma attached to those who do not seem to qualify for the traditional careers. So feel free to send your children to sixth form, knowing that they'll be more confident and they can support you and support themselves a little bit better.
Okay, that's very, very comprehensive. That's again in September. Will it be complete face to face, or will we still have some of the online learning going on? What format will it be?
Mr. Waller, from now on,
Yeah.
totally face to face.
Mhm. You were able to give
Online did not
students
work.
computers, right? Online.
Yes,
I
the
don't. I don't think it worked for anybody. I
tablets,
don't
tablets, yes,
think it
and
worked for
and the
anybody.
government provided laptops for some of them. The
How will you
question
get
is, what
those
are
back?
they going to do with those laptops to empower themselves?
So it's not a case as though, although you guys will take them back. The kids get to keep them.
Yes, they get to keep them. Yes.
Oh wow, wow. Okay, I thought you were gonna collect them and then you're gonna collect them
No,
back. But let's hope everything will be okay and
no,
they should be back in their seats. Let's hope they'll be back in their seats. But Mrs. Zara, I want to thank you very much, ma'am, for coming on, for taking time out on a Saturday night. I want to thank you for coming on, and we learned a lot. I learned a lot, and we're going to explore this further on another evening. So, Mr. Zara, anything else you want to say before you go, ma'am?
It's my pleasure, Mr. Waller. And anything, anytime having to do with education and our children, I am always willing to be on your program.
We realize that, man. Thanks for coming, Mr. Lara. Thank you. Ladies and
You're
gentlemen, we are
welcome.
listening to, okay, man, you're welcome too. You're listening to Mrs. Juliet Fraser Sadar, principal of St. Mary High, as she explained that topic which threatened to upend the educational system, because I've been hearing about it, about kids at 11th grade being asked to do another 2 years. Not everybody is kosher with it, but Mrs. Sadar, one of the principals, basically explained what it was what's all about. And it will have its benefits. It will have its benefits. And everything should work out fine, hopefully. So guys, we spent about a half an hour listening to Mr. Sadar. I see a couple of my friends on Rosie, Track, and Dana. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing in your neck of the woods? Everything okay? How about a little chatting back and forth here, guys? Is everything all right? Remember now, I think I have got this WhatsApp thing working, and I can now receive calls via WhatsApp. So in the future, we're in Jamaica who were worried about phone call, have a chat. So, Rosie, how are things down there in southern Florida? What's the weather like down there? Up here, we're having showers, lightning like crazy as well, but I missed everything. You sleep too much, Rosie. Sleep too much. I know you said day off, but what about track? Yvonne, how are you? And Diana, how is everything over there? Where you living? I think Spanish, is it Spanish Town or Kingston across the waters? Whether it's hot, no rain. No, we have rain. I couldn't even get to carry out the dog because thunder and lightning and some idiots still in this weather setting off firecrackers. Setting off firecrackers. So, like I said, guys, today the St. Mary Parish team lost a close one to JDF. Close one to JDF. Already people calling me, cussing me, says me saw them up by interviewing the president Thursday. So I've got my share of blame already. But I think they honestly, I think they gave away the game with some sloppy feeling. We dropped a few catches. The top batsman, he was dropped. Yeah, and then, yep, Kingston is hot as usual. Yeah, like yesterday, there were times when the temperature up to 100. I'm flipping 100. Yes, Rosie, we're going to start with the bus driver again. As soon as this COVID go down, I don't want to have people in them pockets and take out nothing in this hard time. But as soon as that done, Rosie, we start again. Honest to God, we're going to start again. And this Ukraine crazy thing, as soon as this abates and Putin decides to draw back his troops, we can get going again. Don't think we have forgotten that. Heck no, no way. Never will. And stop calling me Boston. Jeez, I don't have nobody working for me. Is it on gone? Yeah, but that St. Mary team, well, we have some good players on it. That guy, Alan Williams, seems to be one of the best things we have in Jamaica there, man. The guy can bat. The guy can bat. Out of a total of 160, he made 70 something. Boy, it's good. There's talent there. And if you listen to the interview on Thursday, that gentleman, Mr. Spencer, he has some real good plans. See, real good plans in the works for St. Mary. Now, if we could just get the parish moving in the right direction in other sports and other things, and football, maybe netball, volleyball, and have all the schools moving up in academics. When I say all the schools, I just don't mean St. Mary High. Richmond or Rockabessa, Wycliffe Martin, all of them, tacky. We would like to make St. Mary one of the top parishes, man. And I think we're on the right road. What do you guys think about the airports come out? Yes, Rosemary, I am asking that too. Ever since Mr. Spencer said Boscobel is the headquarters for cricket, I'm wondering where the heck is this cricket pitch located in Boscobel? Because I never seen any clearance for no cricket pitch. It's pure rock stone to say Boscobel. I'm wondering where is this? Can somebody who knows where this Boscobel cricket headquarters is located, can you just give me a call on WhatsApp and let me know? It's my number, 347-225-4654. But I don't know where Boscobel, all them Rockstone, and where you make cricket pitch. Where is cricket? And to think of a place like Gray's Inn. Okay, to think, and Mr. I just texting to say, please note that sixth form education is now free for all students. Sixth form education is now free. Okay, great news. I should ask the president to, give me a pinpoint location. It's probably next to the runway. Also, they have cleared out. It's going down all the way to where is that the school, the primary school? But I'd love to find out where this is. In fact, I told somebody once I was done, I'm gonna go on Google Earth and see if I can pull it up and zoom in to find out where the heck this is. But it's so sad to know that a place like Connaught Bay that was once the mecca of cricket with the Grazing Sports Complex. They had two fields, one behind the gas station and one on the other side of the road. Two wonderful fields, and now that's no longer being used. Clements Park used to be good too. But times change. Times change, and we hope all the other areas will, follow Mr. Spencer's lead. I'd like to see people back in cricket like Richmond, Connaught Bay, Port Maria, Albion Mountain, Hampstead. I remember when these places had vibrant little teams. But I think if everybody follows his lead, we'll be good. We'll be good for a long time to come because he wants to build it from the grassroots level up. From the grassroots level up. So, guys, for those of you listening, what do you think about all that mass shooting going on? What do you think about it, guys, here in the States? Whereby every morning we wake up, somebody, some crazy, has gone off with an AR-15. And look at what happened in Japan, somewhere like Japan, that gun crimes are, and gun crimes are basically an unheard of thing in Japan, like with a samurai sword. You need to get a man like Keith McCrae involved. Keith McCrae, the name sounds familiar. Is it McCrae that used to go where is that? Rosie, is that McCrae who went where is that? I can't remember his first name was Keith. Rosie, is that Mr. McCrae we talking about who went to the Mary? And by the way, guys, from the St. Mary family, I want to say condolences to the Johnson family. Past Prince Mr. Errol Johnson lost his mom. Errol, Kenroy, Elaine, a lot of the Johnsons who we grew up and interacted with lost their mother. Fine lady, humble lady who always stayed in the background as a mother and wife, and really nurtured her kids and her family. Yes, I remember McRae. One of the best batsmen to pass through Mirza. Yeah, that kid come back. Yeah, so we wish Mr. Johnson and his family all the best. We know that the mother will be missed because she basically held down that family. We talk about that woman who holds her family down. That was her. So we hope they'll be okay. Just keep her memory alive. But guys, anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here? Remember, if you want your voice heard, here is that WhatsApp number. You want your voice heard. 225-4654. And please alert people. The stream you can share down. Rosemary saying she lost one of her batchmates from class of '83. His name is Doran Forbes, aka Chief. Where was he? Was he in the States, England, or back in Jamaica? So condolences to the batch of '83. Doran Forbes, aka Cheeky. Guys, it's amazing how I don't know how you look at it in JA. I don't know how you look at it where people our age now are just going down like that. One of my friends last time I spoke to him said to me, Gary, you have to realize it's like we are at the airport waiting in the departure lounge. That's where we're at now in life. I just think when we were teenagers, we looked at somebody 50 or 60 as somebody old, ancient. When you say old, you say them old. And now we're at that stage. We never, I don't know about you, but I never thought I'd live to reach this stage. My dad died in his 40s, and I never thought I'd live to reach that age. And now, in my 60s, oh my God, it's humbling when you have to face your own mortality, when you realize that at any moment your number could be called for a wide variety of reasons, a wide variety of ailments. I don't know if you're like me, where you're feeling pains in area muscles that you didn't even know you had. You pull muscles now, just by bending your legs. I don't know if I have a problem, but man, you wake up in the morning and it's like somebody beat you in your sleep. If you're having that problem like that, please let me know so I can know that I'm not alone, that I'm like everybody else. But at this age now, guys, we've got to watch our health. We got to take care of the health. We got to watch what we eat. Got to make sure we get good night's rest. Yeah, it's just to make sure you're ready when your number is called. Yeah, life is like bingo. That's what you have to. That's how we got to look at it. When it's your time, it's your time. Sometimes it goes without a warning. And I want to take this opportunity to tell my people from Port Maria, Emmanuel Baptist, yes, we still haven't forgotten that Zoom meetup. It's coming up. You're going to hear something about it in this week coming up. People from Emmanuel Baptist. Oh, Vangela, we're glad to have you on. Night, Vanji. Hey, guys. This young lady, Vangela, who just came in. I'd like you to tune in to Vangela's program on a Thursday evening at 5. It's a program called Perspectives. She's on OptimaGoldRadio.com. You'll soon see it flashing across the screen. Optima Gold Radio. Very wonderful program. Great music. Great talk. You're Optima Gold Radio. Log on at 5 o'clock on 5 EST. And let me tell you, you're going to hear this lady spins her records like no love. Do man bad, she bad. And her topics are very entertaining. Very educational. She runs a gamut from comedy all the way up to serious political stuff. So that's Vangela Hazel. You owe me Vangela, send my check. Send my check. But guys, happy to have you on, happy to have you here with me. And if you give me the opportunity, I will chat the whole night. I'm a talker basically. I will talk. Any topic you want, talk on. But over the coming weeks, I'm gonna try and have a very knowledgeable gentleman on. I haven't spoken to him yet, but I want to come on and talk about like personal finances, retirement, all that IRA stuff and all that, savings. I'm hoping to get him on next week. Still have to call him tomorrow. And I know if he's available, he'll come on so we can all learn stuff. Because we're at that point where now a lot of us facing retirement. Do we have everything in a row? Do we have all the ducks in a row? Do we know what we'll be doing later on? Will we be going to a nursing home or what? we've got to get all our ducks in a row. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Miss Sadar for coming on. We want to thank her for coming on because I tried to get several principals to come on, and they were, I don't know if they were scared or they didn't want to say anything that the ministry didn't agree with. Try to get some of the teachers to come on. I don't know. And when you say when you have ducks in a row, you can be surprised. That's true. I don't know how some people they're afraid to talk. I mean, they'll sit behind the keyboard and type up a storm. But you ask them to, hey, can you just come on, make a phone call, or I'll call you and we chat about this? Nah, they don't want to. But like she was saying, it's beneficial to some students. But I think the big problem is gonna get having the staff to buy it. Because some teachers are totally fed up with seeing kids for 5 years. No, you have to go see them for an extra 2. Oh my God. Especially if you have a bad kid, you gotta see for another 2 years. But like she was saying, we have a glut of like doctors and lawyers. We have always, as Jamaicans, we have always pushed academia. If you put in a doctor, not say nothing. If you put in a lawyer, not say nothing. And it has been done to the detriment to the other practical skills, as she's saying, plumbers, masons, and all those things. And yeah, we have neglected those. We tend to look down on people who do those things until something goes wrong with your house or your car, and then you realize how important these guys are. You realize how important these guys are. But kids, I keep saying kids, the students should benefit. So they either go to 2 years of sixth form, they either go to a vocational school or they go to university. And I really hope these vocational schools will cater to the skills that are needed. We need them in these construction skills. We need them in auto mechanics. And the way we talk about auto mechanics, it's not the same way as when we were young and you have mechanics who would fix this work. And now, the whole thing has changed. The whole thing just take off, replace. Everything is computerized. We have to make sure we retool. We got to make sure we're ready for these jobs. We've got to make sure everything is ready. Otherwise, we're going to be in a big problem. Like I said at first, she was questioning the ministry about why do it now after kids have missed 2 years. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be challenging, but I think Jamaica can overcome anything. Yeah, we need the skilled people, man. We need them. We need them. Too many doctors, too many lawyers, too many teachers. We won't have anywhere to go. And we're going to have trust me, we're going to have a brain drain again, but we don't want to have that skill drain. We don't want to lose those skilled people. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got any more points to bring up, it's now 6 minutes to 11, and I'm going to let you go. Thanks for coming on. Please, on the replay, you can share this with your friends, share it with your group, share it on your page. Please do that for me. And I promise in the coming weeks, we're going to have some great topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, by Rosie, Trap, Diana, who is always with me, and anybody else who's logged on but afraid to put in a comment. Glad to have you here. This is Garfield Waller from Rock the Mic signing out. Be good, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.